Danny Liner here. Today we are going to teach you guys to tune your cars for the fastest acceleration possible. If you get to one of those sprint races that says, hey, you have to do 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 in less than this, and your car can't make it, this video is going to help you get through it. Remember, not every single car in the game is capable of fast acceleration, so there are some cars, no matter what you do, the acceleration is going to be slow, but we're going to teach you how to tune your car to make it accelerate as quickly as possible. So if you do get stuck on one of those events, this video should help you through it. So make sure you get the car up to stage 5, install all the fusion parts you have and any stage 6 parts, because all those things are going to make the car faster and accelerate quicker as well. So let's go into where you tune the car, and we are going to focus on the final drive. Moving the final drive to the right generally makes the car accelerate faster. Now, there are some cars where you move that final drive all the way over, it's going to cause a bunch of wheel spin, or it's just going to have too much torque and the car is not going to have enough grip. So when that happens, then we need to start playing with our tires to see if we can add more grip to stop the wheel spin. If that thing launches off the finish line and it's got a bunch of wheel spin, well, of course, that's going to make the car slower and not faster on the acceleration. So you got to check for a little bit of everything here, but a lot of cars, just simply moving the transmission slider to the right will make the car fast enough to beat that 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 time. But we do need to double check what we're doing every step of the way. So we're going to move the transmission slider a little bit to the right, and then we're going to look at our dyno time and see did that get faster or slower. Now, if you notice, the 0 to 60 got faster, but the 0 to 100 got slower. So you need to pay attention to, does my race require 0 to 60 times or 0 to 100 times? And pay attention to the one you're trying to beat, because if I'm trying to do a 0 to 100, well, that just got slower, so that's not good. So if I'm trying to do a 0 to 60, then bam, that got a little bit better. So let's go ahead and hit the back button. Let's move this a little bit more. All right, so those both got slower. That's not looking good, is it? Let's move it a little bit more. And bam, now they're faster again. So you kind of got to move it and check it, move it and check it, move it and check it until you find the very fastest part. Now, on this particular car, once we get all the way to the right, you're going to see we shaved a pretty significant amount of time off of the 0 to 100 and a little bit off of the 0 to 60. Now we want to check the tires, right? Once we found the part on the slider that gives us the fastest acceleration on the dyno time, now we're going to move over to the tires. So right now we have the maximum amount of grip. I'm guessing if we move the tires, it's probably going to make us slower because we'll have more wheel spin. So 0.7 and 1.073. So let's just go ahead and move the tires 6. So that might have actually improved things a little bit. You just got to play with each thing a little bit until you find the best numbers for each, because sometimes you might make a change and you're expecting it to do one thing and it actually does something different. So some of these cars do things that are a little bit weird and don't really make sense, so you got to check everything. Start with the transmission. Find the best spot on this transmission, then move over the tires and find the best spot on the tires that gives you either the best 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 acceleration. And then we're going to move over to the nitrous and do the same thing. Move it a little, check, move it a little, check, move it a little, check. And then once you find the very best spot, go do some test runs and see if the car is capable of running the times that the dyno time is telling you. Now, there is one problem with this. Sometimes this will make your car shift fast, and I mean so fast that you can't keep up with the shift pattern, which is actually going to slow you down. So right there, I buried the needle several times, and that probably made me very, very slow. Now, when you tune like this, you're going to have no top speed. Your top speed is going to be very slow, but hey, we don't care about top speed. We were trying to do a race where we had to beat 0 to 60 or 0 to 100. So right there, I noticed, hey, I got really good times, but I know I didn't run the car as good as I could have. Honestly, I would sit there and do 20 or 30 test runs if I had to and try to get used to that shift pattern, because if I make the change I'm about to show you now, the car is probably going to lose some acceleration, but it's going to be easier to drive. So sit there and play with it. If you just cannot get the hang of shifting it that fast, then you might want to try this. So I'm going to come back to the final drive. I'm going to move it back a little bit. And even though it's not going to show me the 0 to 60 times are as good, I'm going to come back and do another test run and drive it. And then I'm going to see what times I get and compare it to whatever time I'm trying to beat for that particular race. So sometimes you just have to tune, do some test runs, see if you get the numbers you're looking for. If not, tune again, do some test runs, see if you get the numbers you're looking for, and repeat until you do get them. And like I said, some cars though just do not have good acceleration no matter what, especially a lot of tier 4 cars. There are a lot of tier 4 cars that suck on the acceleration or suck on the top speed. Not a lot of tier 4s are good at both of those things for some reason, but a lot of the newer ones are. But a lot of the older ones either had one or the other, but not both. So the trick here is start by tuning the transmission, get the dyno time for the 0 to 60 or the 0 to 100 to read as fast as possible, move over the tires, do the same thing, move to the nitrous, do the same thing, and then start doing test runs. See if you can make that time needed by doing the test runs, and you might need to do several just to make sure you're driving the car optimally for such a fast shift pattern. But if the shift pattern is just so fast you cannot get the hang of it, just move the transmission slider a little bit more to the left, then retune the tires and the nitrous as well to try and get to a better 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 time. Now, I'm not going to lie, there's been times where I didn't quite have enough parts on the car, but the car was still capable, where it took me 30-40 minutes to sit there and play with the tune to get the car just dialed in perfectly. So sometimes it does take some trial and error, but hopefully this video gives you a really good idea how to check for this. And sometimes you might even not want to hit your nitrous, because sometimes once that nitrous kicks in, it causes extra wheel spin. So when you're doing the test runs, test with and without the nitrous. And like I said, remember, some cars are just not capable of fast acceleration no matter what you do. And then there's the thing that's like, hey, maybe I just don't have enough parts on this car. So if you're lacking parts on the car and you can't make the 0 to 60 time, it might be one of those two things. Either the car just can't do it, or I just don't have enough parts on the car, or you just need to play with the tune more. I mean, sometimes, like I said, you might sit there for 20, 30, 40 minutes playing with a tune just to beat one type of sprint race or a speed trap or something like that, and it sucks. That sucks big time, but sometimes you have to do it. But if you get to the point where you're like, you know what, I've been tuning this forever, I just don't think it's going to happen, that probably means that the car is just not capable, or you don't have the parts, and it might be time to stop or try to switch to a different car that can do it if possible. Not all races will let you switch cars, some will. Now, I have ran into some really weird cars where moving the transmission slider to the left is what makes it accelerate quicker, and that's probably because the car just has too much torque or too much wheel spin, or there's just something weird with the car. There are some weird ones, so generally transmission slider to the right, more acceleration. Not always, but usually. So some cars you do really just gotta sit there and play around with them, but hopefully this video gives you a really good idea and helps you through these types of races when you get stuck on them, because there's a lot of times where your car can be crazy fast, but it just can't do like a 0 to 60 or a top speed race, and you gotta tune to beat that particular type of race. So sometimes it does take retuning the car to beat these types of races. This is video number 2 of my brand new updated ultimate tuning playlist. So we're going to fill that up with live racing tunes, 0 to 60 tunes, top speed tunes, all kinds of tunes. You might want to check out that playlist. It's going to pop up on the screen in just a second. Huge shout out to all my channel members. Thank you guys so much for being channel members. It really helps support the channel a lot. So if you would like to become a channel member, click that join button right below the video. Or if you want to drop down the video's description, you'll find my other YouTube channels, my merch store, my Discord server, and all kinds of other stuff, plus some things that will help support the channel as well. So drop down that description, check that out. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are amazing. I hope you enjoyed the video. Lightning out, have an awesome day, and here come the videos that are going to pop right up on the screen right about now.